Where does Tony Ferguson go from here? That's 3 losses in a row. Um, and he's got to start all the way pretty much from the bottom and work his way back up if he wants to get back in the position he was when he was on the cusp, on the precipice of having a super fight that was just never meant to be. He had all the momentum going for him, and he got derailed, not being able to fight Khabib. He did what any true fighter would do. He lost to Gaethje, got severely beaten. It's almost like when he dropped Gaethje and couldn't finish him in that fight. Ever since that moment, it's been downhill for him. He got beaten badly there. He came in, he fought Charles Oliveira, almost got his arm snapped. He's a tough guy. He didn't tap, but he lost that fight. And now this past weekend, he loses to Dariush. It used to be that his ground game, his prowess on the floor, his rubber guard, that was something that he would be able to utilize and beat his opponents with. And now in his last 2 fights, he got dominated on the ground. He switched up striking coaches, and he didn't even get a chance to strike in this last fight. He was just dominated on the mat. 3 losses in a row. I mean, is it time for him to hang it up? We don't know. I don't think he's going to, obviously. He feels like he's got a lot left in the tank. And he probably feels like he's just one mistake here or there away from winning his last 3 fights, potentially. I'm sure he might think that in his mind. I don't know. But it's tough. This is a what have you done lately for me sport. And lately he's been losing. And his stock hasn't fallen in the eyes of the fans. Not for me at least, and not from anybody I've spoken to. I think he's still a fan favorite. He's got that kind of magnetism and personality, which makes him not only, when you've got a fighter that's a good fighter and they've got a personality that creates and generates a buzz amongst the fans, we want to see them be successful. And that's why he has such a big fan following, because he's got that type of personality. But even his most ardent fans got to admit, a 3-fight losing streak, and many fans consider this a must-win fight against Dariush to keep him in contention. Is he going to be one of these guys that just, leaves UFC and goes over to Bellator, and like we've seen a lot of former UFC fighters do, and maybe have a little bit more success over there? I'm not saying they don't have a strong roster, but it's not quite as strong as the UFC, and some people go over there and revitalize their career. We've seen the comments he made at the pre-fight press conference about Dana White, so it doesn't seem like he's the biggest fan of him as a president either. So does Tony Ferguson have anything left in him as far as being a contender is concerned? Only the future will hold that answer for us. But Daniel Cormier made an interesting comment during the fight. He said how quickly things change, and he said it's a young man's sport. But I don't know if it's so much that it's a young man's sport as it is a fresh man's sport, because most of the champions are in their mid-30s, and that's not really young. It's relatively young, but it's not like all the champions are in their 20s. Then you could say it's a young man's game. So most of the champions are in the 30 to 35 age range. I can't say that. I probably need to look that up, but it's safe to say when I think about the champions off the top of my head, they're all in their 30s to mid 30s. So does El Cucuy have anything left in his tank as far as being in the top 5 or even the top 10, or is his time over? Hopefully he bounces back with a win streak and gets one last shot at being a contender, at fighting for a title, but he has not looked very good in his last 3 fights, aside from him being durable and tough as ever, which we always known him to be that. So I'm no expert, but I just call it how I see it. And I see that Tony has got a long way to go, and time is not on his side. You will know.